just talk, and they just, I mean, I won't mention any names, but very recently after one of the conferences, yes, I will name him, Michael Gove, the chief whip, left me open-mouthed with his complete disregard for what the question was being asked. And I regard myself as asking a question that would be on the behalf of the people who've elected him. To completely ignore the question and just give you this cuckoo land answer, about how Britain is wonderful since their party got into power and everything is for the best, everything for the best in the best of all possible worlds. You just think, no one believes you. I don't believe you. You don't believe yourself. We know that. And no one listening or watching will believe you. Why go down that path? But then others can be, relatively frank. At the moment, the trick is to try and signal to a politician that you want to have a serious discussion about their policy, which they know a lot about, but you don't know as much about it, and the public knows even less. So, let's genuinely try to shed some light on the issue. It's tough to get there, but every now and again, you kind of do feel you've made a little bit of progress. With Nigel Farage, there's no grid there really. Nobody else in the country knows anyone else in UKIP, apart from Nigel Farage really. With Nigel Farage it's different. It's you've got to have him on an appropriate amount of time. Whether you get anything different out of him, well, yeah, you do, because Nigel Farage is one of those very clever politicians. It's what the Lib Dems used to do. Was in the north they were a different party to the south. Well, UKIP or Nigel Farage is that. Effectively there is a divide within England in terms of how the country votes. The north is more or less Labour, and large parts of the south are Conservative or Lib Dem, with London as a Labour bubble. And Nigel Farage manages that. We'll wait and see for the general election and by-elections, but he speaks a different language to those Labour-minded people in the north who may vote UKIP, to the language he speaks to the UKIP would-be UKIP voters in the south. He has no pesky things like policies to bother him. You can't go and catch him out on his policies. I mean, it wasn't me did it, but very recently they dug up, an interviewer dug up the UKIP policy portfolio, and Nigel Farage says, oh, these are just thoughts, they're not policies, because of course they don't add up. So there's a discussion to be had about the chicken and egg. So UKIP is a very interesting case in point. Is the amount of publicity being given to UKIP leading to more votes for them, or are broadcasters and others simply reflecting the growing interest in UKIP? There's no answer to that, because of course it's a dog chasing its own tail. One leads to the other, leads to the other, and it goes round and round. You can't look at the Middle East, you can't look what's happening with the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria and say they're all bonkers, because they're not all bonkers. There's a lot of them, and they seem, they're very focused and very cold-blooded thinking people with, an absolutely insane ideology, in my view. But you've got to find somebody that can talk about that ideology. I think without, if Mr. al-Baghdadi were in this country, certainly we would not be interviewing him. He's beyond the pale.